Shalom, Yashar'AL, Shalom. Shalom to all 12 tribes. Shalom to the older brother, Yahudah. Shalom to the younger brother, Ephraim. Shalom to the stranger, the former ger, a goyim, or Gentile, who is no longer a Gentile, no longer a goyim, no longer considered a pig or dog, but in fact is now a fellow citizen of Yashar'AL, having been engrafted into us, whereby becoming an adopted son, and whereby becoming privy to the same covenants of inheritance that were given to Yashar'AL and to Yashar'AL alone. I bid you shalom worldwide on this morning to the whole Bayif of Yashar'AL, to both Yahudah and Ephraim and the stranger. I bid shalom to both the flock and the herd on this Yom, to both the flock and the herd who are scattered to the four corners of the Eretz on this Yom. Shalom to you. Yashar'AL, I have a message for you. I have a warning from the Most High Yah. I have a warning for Yashar'AL. I was given a mandate to warn his people, to warn Yah's people, because they don't know what's coming. I was given a mandate early in the wee hours of this morning to warn Yah's people. Let me preface that before Yah begins to speak. Well, he's speaking right now, but let me preface this with something. Almost 4 years ago, Yahuwah spoke to me, and he said to me that this is a season of separation and preparation. Preparation for what? Preparation for what's to come. He told me that this is a season of separating the sheep from the goats, the wheat from the tares. He told me that this is a season of threshing floor anointing, of lying on the threshing floor, whereby allowing him to beat the proverbial chaff, to separate the proverbial chaff from the wheat, so that we are an acceptable abode, so that this heckle is an acceptable place, an acceptable abode in which for Yahuwah to dwell in fullness. He also spoke to me that he was going to release Ruach Eliyahu, the Ruach of Eliyahu, not that Eliyahu was coming, but that an Eliyahu type anointing is coming upon the Eretz again. It must come. It must come. Because Eliyahu is sent. The anointing of Eliyahu is always sent to prepare the way, to prepare the return of Yahuwah. Yahukan and the Immerser carried an Eliyahu type anointing. He was not Eliyahu, but he carried the anointing of Eliyahu. He carried the anointing of Eliyahu. This anointing always comes to prepare the way of the Master. And he spoke to me almost 4 years ago that he was going to unleash Ruach Eliyahu again. And so that goes hand in hand with threshing floor anointing, with lying on the threshing floor at the feet of the Most High Yah, allowing him to beat away the chaff, so that this heckle is an acceptable abode, in which for him to dwell in fullness, in which for Ruach Eliyahu, for this type of anointing can come and be rubbed on us, so that we are fit for this type of anointing. And so that in this season, Zion, that we will be fruit-bearing trees during a time of famine, and water-producing rocks during a time of drought, and light-producing lamps during a time of famine. But I submit to you, Zion, that most of you, instead of that threshing floor moment, that threshing floor anointing, you're more consumed with genealogies. You're more consumed with power. You're more consumed with attention. You're more consumed with knowledge and allowing people and wanting people to know what you perceive, what you think you know. Everybody wants to be important. Nobody wants to submit. Everyone wants to be the man, the big man on stage. Everyone wants to be the star of the show. But no one, hardly anyone is seeking the Ruach. Hardly anyone is seeking Yahuwah in Ruach and in truth. Many of you are coming into truth. Many of you are new into truth. And as Yah begins to open your eyes, your proverbial eyes and your ears and your heart, you want to proclaim on Facebook all the things that you know when you don't know nothing. You know nothing. You don't understand that this is a season of preparation, that Yah is preparing you. That instead of spending all that time on Facebook, you need to be spending time on the threshing floor, allowing him to prepare you. That you need to shut up and sit down and lie on his potter's wheel and allow him to prepare you for what's to come. Many of you don't know what's coming. You have no clue about what's coming upon the earth. And instead of lying on the threshing floor and allowing Yahuwah to speak to your nefash, to speak to your nefash, to speak to your ruach, to warn you and to prepare you with respect to what's to come, you're more concerned with the praises of men. You're more concerned about the praises of men, showing off and showing people what you think you know. Many of you are hungry. You're thirsty for knowledge. You've come out of paganism. You've come out of pagan churches, and you've been lied to your whole life. And so now Yah is revealing truths to you. And so every time you hear a proclaimer from Yah speaking truth and speaking the truth of his word via the power of the Ruach, you tend to gravitate to men. And you spend more time gravitating to men than you do gravitating to the Most High Yah. You tend to want to place men on pedestals. You tend to want to place men on pedestals. And you gravitate to men rather than gravitating to the Most High Yah. Rather than gravitating to the Most High Yah. You're no different than a Christian who placed their pastors on pedestals. You're to place no man on a pedestal. You're to place no man on a pedestal. Instead of listening to the messenger and turning toward instead of turning toward Yahuwah, who the messenger is proclaiming, you instead turn toward the messenger. And you're lost and you're ill prepared. You're lost and you're ill prepared for what's to come. You're ill prepared for what's to come. What's coming? What's coming, Zion? What's coming that you're not prepared for? What's coming that the whole world is not prepared for? What's coming? What is coming? What is coming? Over the Pesach weekend, we had guests in our house. And I'm not going to call out any names, but I'm a messenger of truth, and I have to speak truth. And I have to speak truth, irrespective of feelings, irrespective of emotions. I must speak truth. I must proclaim truth. If I don't proclaim truth, then the Most High will hold me responsible. But over Pesach, we had guests. We had guests in our house. And when the guests left, there was something left behind. There was something left behind in our house. Now let me preface that with this. Yahuwah has been preparing my wife and I, my Aisha, for quite some time, for a long time, with respect to spiritual warfare. He has been preparing us for quite some time now, with skirmishes here and there, spiritual manifestations and skirmishes here and there. But I submit to you, Zion, that These skirmishes were lower level warfare. They were lower level warfare. They were imps, if you will. They were imps that Yah was using to train us in a controlled environment, that he was using to train us in a controlled environment. He was using them to train us, to teach us to fight, to train our hands for war, and to train our proverbial arms for war, to train us how to use the Ruach, how to war in the Ruach. He was using these imps to train us. But Zion, it has now been escalated. It has now been escalated. Warfare has been escalated. It has been escalated. And he showed us this after the guests left over Pesach, and that there was something left. There was something left behind. And I'm not speaking this to whomever is listening. If you know that you were guests in my home, I admonish you to contact me afterwards when you hear this video. This is not to put you down. This is not to be condescending to you. This is not to place myself on a pedestal, because I wasn't even going to speak it. I wasn't even going to say anything about it until Yahuwah gave me a mandate to warn his people. To warn his people. Nevertheless, if you hear this, then you need to take heed. Then you need to take heed, because there's a deliverance that needs to take place in you. There is a deliverance that needs to take place in you. When I poured oil on your head and when I laid hands on you, I felt the resistance of the Ruachs in you that did not want to come out. And they did not want to come out because they are comfortable in you. They have a home, they have a place in you, and they have a legal right to be in you. But me laying hands on you, I did not have a legal right to lay hands on you. I placed my hands on the territory of the enemy where I had no legal right to be. And until you come humbly and recognize that you have multiple Ruachs, and you bow and you cry out to the Most High Yah for deliverance, and you recognize that they are in you, they're going to remain in you. And they're going to continue to torment you. But I had no right to lay hands on you. I overstepped my bounds. And so after you left, there was something left behind. There was something left behind. There was a dryness that came over our home, where before there was bountiful water, there was fruitful water, there was shalom here. The shalom left, and there was dryness in our home. There was dryness here. And that dryness had to be cast out, but that was lower level. That was lower level. After the dryness came, we started to feel a coldness in the air, an emptiness in the air, an anxiousness and anxiety. And we felt a ruach of fear trying to come over us in our home. And so one night, as I began to call these things out, as I began to call these things out to the Ruach HaKodesh, and I embraced my wife, and we began to pray, my Aisha, and we began to pray. A ruach, a strong ruach of witchcraft manifested. And Isabel, you may recall me calling out that Isabel when I laid hands on you. And Isabel ruach manifested in our house, and my wife, who has discernment to see into the ruach realm, she saw it manifest, and before she could say anything. And again, this was training. Yahuwah is still training us, but now at a higher level, he's still training us. Still training these arms for battle and these hands for warfare, and training us to war in the Ruach. And so rather than immediately warring against this wicked Ruach Kov, she paused. And just for that brief moment, of pausing, and not taking authority, that Ruach then jumped on my wife and she lost all strength in her body. Do you hear me? She lost all strength in her body and she collapsed to the floor. And I had to war. I had to war. And the Ruach, unlike I've ever warred before, into that wickedness, let her go and cast it out of my house. And cast it out of my house in the power and the fire of the Ruach HaKodesh. But Yahuwah revealed to me still that was just lower level warfare, that he's still yet preparing us for what's to come, because what's to come pales in comparison to that. What's to come pales in comparison to that. We are still being prepared. We are still being prepared for what's to come. But if your focus is on knowledge, it's on genealogy, it's on the false truth that you are already saved, then you are not going to be prepared for what's to come. And what is coming, Zion? I need you to understand that there is a veil that separates the natural from the supernatural. And that veil, Zion, is growing thinner and thinner. It is almost transparent. Do you hear me? It is almost transparent. It is almost torn to where we are at a point to where there is no longer going to be a separation between the natural and the supernatural, when the supernatural is going to operate in the natural with complete autonomy. Darkness is coming upon the world. Darkness is coming upon the land. And if you don't have the indwelling of the Ruach, and if you are not walking in Ruach Aliyahu, these Ruachs are going to take over you. They are going to possess you. The same way that Ruach jumped on my wife and she lost all strength in her body, these Ruachs are going to possess you. You thought that Hollywood, that when they showed you zombies and when they showed you different portals being opening in movies, you thought that it was entertainment. It is not entertainment. You thought that when they showed you that there were alien invasions and people have convinced you that there's going to be an alien invasion. There are not going to be alien invasion and intergalactic invasion, but there is going to be an interdimensional invasion that's coming upon the earth. And if you are not walking in the anointing of Ruach Aliyahu, if you are not full of the Ruach, then you are going to be fully possessed. And you are going to become a zombie. A zombie. That's not myth. Zombies are no more than fully possessed human beings. And you are going to become a zombie. And you know what? Your genealogy and your knowledge and your false Messiah that you call Jesus, he ain't going to save you. He ain't going to save you. He's not going to save you. Many of you that boast in genealogy, you don't even believe in the Hamashiach. So how can you receive his Ruach? You cannot receive his Ruach because you don't believe in the Messiah. The Ruach is the Ruach of the Messiah. You lost, and you're going to become possessed zombies. Possessed zombies. You don't even know what's coming. Shut up, sit down, and lie on the threshing floor. And allow him to beat away the chaff in you. And prepare this heckle to receive Ruach Aliyahu and to receive him in fullness. You don't even know how to fight. Many of you don't even believe in demonic warfare. Many of you don't even believe in demons. And you don't even know how to fight. Many of you have been deceived by Hollywood into thinking things like vampires and werewolves and mermaids and half animal have man-like creatures. You've been deceived into thinking that it's entertainment. You've been deceived into thinking that giants are just myth, so that when these things manifest and you see them when you see them with your own eyes, your heart is going to fail due to fear because you don't think that they exist. You've been fooled and deceived into thinking that it's just entertainment. You don't know what's coming. You are not prepared for what's to come. And Yahuwah has sent this man, this humble servant, this voice crying out in the wilderness to declare to you this day, to warn you that darkness is coming upon the earth, and to warn you to teshuva, and to warn you to lie on the threshing floor, and to shut down your ego, to shut down your pride, your false pride and ego, to shut down all of these distractions, and to lie on the threshing floor before the feet of the Most High Yah, and allow him to prepare you for what's to come. Allow him to prepare you for what's to come. And we are even at the door. We are even at the door. And many of you are not prepared. Are not prepared. He put this in my ruach many years ago when I was in the Christian church. He put this in my ruach, the importance of walking in the fullness of the Ruach HaKodesh. I didn't call him that at the time, but he put this in my ruach back then, and how that relates to the end times, and how that if we were not walking fully in the ruach, when these times come, when that veil is torn, that you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. And all your preparation, your guns, your bullets, your land, your water storage, your food storage, this is not going to save you. This is not going to protect you. Because hear me, listen to me. You can kill flesh, but you cannot kill ruach. And so even if you have guns and bullets, you're going to be faced with a fundamental decision. With a fundamental decision. Do you kill the flesh, or do you cast out the ruach kof that is possessing that flesh? That is the question. Do you kill that flesh, or do you cast out the ruach kof that is possessing that flesh? And if the ruach itself comes against you, your bullets, your AR-15s, your guns, your water, your provisions, your lands is not going to protect you. Only the Ruach of the Most High, only a special anointing, only a special rubbing of the oil of the Ruach, in a special rubbing, the rubbing of Ruach Aliyahu, who is sent to prepare the way of the Master, who will turn the hearts of the fathers back to the children, and the hearts of the children back to the fathers, who would turn your wicked hearts back to Torah. Who would turn your wicked hearts back to Torah. You have been warned this day. You have been warned this day. You have been warned. Preparation and separation. Threshing floor anointing. Turn over that plate. Fast. Turn off Facebook. Turn off your television. Turn off Twitter. Turn off Instagram. Quit worrying about the praises of men, because Yahuwah gives you a little something and you want to post it to Facebook because you want the likes and the comments, and you want people to think more of you than what you are. You're nothing. You know nothing. Sit down and shut it down and lie before the feet of the Most High Yah, and allow him to prepare you for what you're not prepared for what you are not expecting. Because what's coming, you are not prepared for. There are things unseen that will cause your feeble heart to fail. There are things unseen that are going to cause the hearts of men to fail. And unless you know who you are, and unless you have the fire of the Ruach HaKodesh in you, unless you understand that you are the Yahid, that you are the only begotten Son of the Most High Yah, that unless you understand that he has given you authority to trample on serpents and scorpions and over all the powers of the enemy, and that nothing by any means shall harm you. That unless you understand that the fierce, warring Malachim of the Most High Yah encamp around those who fear him, and that they will not allow one of these wicked Ruach Koth to do you harm. Before they allow one of them to do you harm, they will cut them in half. Unless you have the Amunah in that, unless you have Amunah in the fire of the Ruach in your belly, you're going to become a zombie. You are going to become a zombie. This is not scripted. This is coming straight from the Ruach. I pray that somebody has heard. I pray that somebody is seeing. I pray that it has stirred someone's spirit, someone's Ruach. I pray that you look beyond the appearance of the messenger, that you look beyond his straggly beard and his straggly appearance. Because if you're looking at his straggly beard and his straggly appearance, then this message isn't for you anyway. If you're rejecting the messenger because you don't like the packaging that the gift came in, then this message isn't for you anyway, but for you who it's for. In the righteous name, in the righteousness of Yahushua HaMashiach, I pray that you take heed. I pray that you take heed. Father, I have been obedient. I have warned your people. I have warned your people. And by the power of your Ruach Abba, your will be done. Your righteous will be done in your people, of both the flock and the herd. Your righteous will be done. Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift up his face towards you and give you shalom. Thus you shall put my name on the children of Yashar'AL, and I myself shall barak them. Amen. Amen. Amen.